another Blank Stare movie review. Although this is not really a review. I planned to make a review on 2002's Equilibrium, a movie most people have never heard of, and it's a shame. I asked a bunch of coworkers, of friends, family members, hey, would you like to see a review on Equilibrium? And they're like, on what? And I was like, that's kind of a bummer, to be honest, that so many people have not heard of this movie because the people who have seen this movie really enjoyed this movie. And so I kind of just wanted to make a video, something different. It's not a review, but more of a why I feel you should watch this movie. This movie that I really like, that I really appreciate this movie. I guess I'll start off with the more surface level thing, being well, number one, the action. The action in this movie is very unique. It's really well shot. It's very imaginative. It's something I've never seen before in a movie. It's a gun style martial arts that I've never seen before, and I honestly don't even know how to explain it to you. It's I could do a bad impression of it for you guys though, like this whole check this out, like and I know that makes no effing sense because it's completely out of context. It's not shot very well, nor am I very good at doing it. But the action in this movie is very good. It's borders cheesy and awesome at the same time. It's right there, walks that fine line, and it's you gotta check it out. The action is great in this movie. Visually, the movie is shot very unique too because it's meant to look boring, but it's on purpose, and it plays into this movie. It looks different. The movie looks different than most movies you and I have seen, or at least I can think of at this moment. But the reason number two, and I think the more important reason why you should watch this movie is because what it's about, what this movie means, what this movie's trying to say. This movie's about a world where you're no longer allowed to feel emotion, where you can't show anything that makes you you. You have no unique identity. You are nothing. You are just another robot walking around amongst other robotic zombies. You have no individualism. You have no culture. You have no history. Your family doesn't even really matter to you. It's just a mating thing to keep population going. You have nothing. You are nothing in this world. In this world, you wear the same clothes as everybody else and you drive the same cars as everybody else. Your house looks the same as everyone else's, and there's just no uniqueness in this world. There's no beauty in this world. So it's such a bad, it's so horrible, it's a nightmare world for me. There's no movies in this world, there's no music, there's no sports, there's no shoes. If you like shoes, all the cars are the same. If you're a car person, if you're a person who likes flowers, if you love art, if you love reading books, comics, if you love reading poetry, none of this exists in this world. It's all destroyed. They don't make it anymore. There's none of it. And to me, that's a horrible world. And this movie to me, it just reminds me of how much beauty there is in this world, how many things we take for granted. I love sports and I can't imagine a world without sports. I love music and imagine there's no music. If you're watching this because this channel is because you love movies, I love movies. Imagine a world where there's no more movies, where you're not allowed to express yourself, you're not allowed to feel, there's nothing anymore. There's no music, you can't put on an outfit that makes you feel the way you feel on the inside. You can't express yourself. There is nothing. There's no love in this world. There's no beauty in this world. This world is meant to look like it's just an ugly, bland looking gray. And there's so many things in this world that's just watching this movie just reminds me of how lucky we are, how we take for granted, how we always forget how much beauty is around us. You go outside, there's all these trees, there's all these roses, there's flowers everywhere, the grass. You see these shoes you like, you look at cars you like, you admire all this art, the films, the comics, the so many things that make you who we are, who I am. So many ways I express myself, that you express yourselves, the things you love to watch, the things you love to hear, the things you love to see. All of this doesn't exist in this world, and it just reminds me that how lucky we are that we have this world that we live in, where all these things are all around us, that all the times, all our friends, our family are. We feel joy, we feel love, we feel hate, we feel anger, we feel all these emotions that just do not exist in this movie, and it's just a nightmare. It's just a horrible, horrible place. And watching this movie for me, it just reminds me how fortunate I am, how fortunate we all are that there might be times where we're just having a bad day and we don't see the beauty in it. We don't enjoy the rain. We don't look at the sunrise. We don't see the sunset every single day. It's just all around us that we don't appreciate it. When do we ever look at the clouds? When was the last time you laid on your back on the grass and just looked at stars in the night. Like all these things you're not allowed to feel. It's not just that these things don't exist, but they do exist. But these characters in this movie, they're not. They take these drugs that suppress all their emotions. They're blind to all this natural beauty, all these things that are around us, and they're not making any of it anymore. There's no music, there's no poetry, there's no art, and it's just. I love comics. Comics are art. Comics are stories. Stories that make you feel. Stories that make you just hope. Stories that make you dream. Stories that make you wonder what if. Things that inspire us to be better, to do more. Things that inspire me just to come out here and make a channel. Things that inspire you every single day. Things that drive us. Things that just want to make us better. The compassion we feel for other people. We don't have to experience their pain to know their pain. We're human, you know? We're just human. And in this movie, humanity is gone and there's no humanity left. And when you are human, they're trying to kill you for it. And it's just, and that sucks. And that's why I love this movie so much. It just reminds me of how fortunate we are. It's just every time I put this movie on, I feel something. And I know maybe not everybody's gonna feel the same way I do watching this movie, but maybe it'll remind you that when you watch that movie you love, that movie that you've seen 1,000 times, and every single time you still feel emotions, every single time it still brings a tear to your eye, even though you know it's coming, even though you've seen it before, even though you memorized it line by line for line, it still hits you. It still hits you right here every single time. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel you should watch this movie. I feel like this movie has a lot to say. I feel like this movie is just, for the action is great. The action is awesome, but just the way Christian Bale, I see a character who hasn't felt anything in his entire life. He's felt no emotion for his own wife, for his own kids. If you have kids, try to imagine that you feel nothing for them. That's impossible. I couldn't do it. I love my wife, and I'm sure if you have wife, you love your parents, you love your kids, you love your aunts and uncles, you love your cousins, and you love your friends. There's so many things in this world that we have love for, and just in this movie, you see Christian Bale for the first time having all this emotion wash over him all at once for the first time. It's very powerful. It's something this movie makes me feel, and a lot of movies make me feel in certain ways too. But this movie, to me specifically, just reminds me of. There's so much around us that we just take for granted, that we don't notice, that we don't pay attention to, and we just kind of assume it's going to be there day in, day out. And in our world, it's not going to be like in this movie. They're not going to suppress our emotions or anything, but it's just kind of a reminder that if you're having a bad day, the things that we still love are still out there, you know? If you're having a bad day, if you read comics, you can pick up a Green Lantern comic book, remind you all about willpower. You could pick up a Spider-Man comic to remind you to keep going forward. You could listen to that song you love, that song that just blocks everything out and just puts you at ease. You could watch that movie that sucks you away from reality into this world you wish you were a part of. And for nothing else, maybe for that, just watch this movie. Just check it out. It's on HBO Max. If you already have the subscription, you're basically already paying for the movie, so go check it out. It's a really good movie. I love this movie. I think this movie's great. It's very underappreciated. A lot of people have never seen this movie, and I think more people should. And I feel like that's all I have to say. Just I wanted to make a different video, not so much a review. I don't want to spoil this movie for anybody. I want you to watch. I want you to experience it for the first time the way I did, where I had nothing ruined. I just went in blind, and I was like, this movie says a lot about just the things we take for granted. All the different cultures in the world, all the different, all the uniqueness that's around us all the time. Whether we like it or not, it's still there, and that's what the beauty in it is there's something in this world for everybody, and that's great. So that's just me, my best attempts at trying to convince you to check this movie out. So, alright guys, that's pretty much all I have to say. Like, subscribe and everything, and leave comments below, let me think. Tell me something you like, a movie you love, just, let's just share our thoughts, And alright guys, so next time I'll give you a proper review, and thanks for watching.